Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sports Shorts Daily, presented by LeBear's Casino. Ronnie Rance, Tommy Chrysan here with you on this December 23rd edition. TK joining us from Court Street Cafe in downtown Port Allen, just right across the Mississippi River Bridge from downtown Baton Rouge. Hope everybody's getting ready for a wonderful Christmas with their family and friends and all that kind of stuff. Probably the last day that most people are really working full time before everybody gets the 24th. And Tommy, I'll see all those last minute dad shoppers on the 24th. It's my tradition to always go shopping on the 24th of December. And it's nothing but a bunch of last minute dudes like myself that are out there at the stores. But a lot to get to today on Sports Shorts presented by LeBear's. We're going to talk about the college football playoffs. What a dud they were. I mean, absolute dud. The games, and two of the next four quarterfinal games are going to be games that have double-digit favorites. So we'll talk about that. The New Orleans Saints are playing a meaningless game today, unless you're a fan of Spencer Rattler and you want to just kind of see how he does the last couple games of the season. Saints a 2-touchdown dog on Monday Night Football against the Packers on the road in the freezing cold. Also, Ricky Henderson, the all-time best leadoff hitter of all time, the best base stealer of all time, and one of the best quote machines of all time. He passed away at 65 years of age, died way too young a few days ago. And if you're a baseball fan, that one hurt, no doubt about it. Plus, LSU men's and women's basketball keep rolling. They both had wins. Tigers did not cover. The men's didn't against UNO. They were a 24-point favorite, I think. They did not cover, but they did take care of the Privateers. And I went to the UL Lafayette McNeese basketball game over at the Cajun Dome yesterday. The Raging Cajuns lost. It was a good game. It was their first game without Bob Marlin, the 15-year head coach that they let go a couple days ago. But Will Wade's Cowboys won in an ugly affair. Remember, McNeese took the world by storm last year, had a good team, went to the NCAA tournament. But this year not as good. They got, as most teams do, a lot of turnover, not many players back from a year ago. And on paper, this is a better team, but they just haven't kind of gelled yet. They don't have any three-point shooting. They were awful. 1 for 16 yesterday behind the three-point line, but Athletic got it done and ended up winning a game in front of a big crowd over at the Cajun Dome. To be, I think McNeese now 6-5, 7-5, something like that. But anyway, TK, let's talk about the college football playoffs. Friday and Saturday, all four games were blowouts. Obviously, you and I were 3-1 as far as our predictions go on the weekend. We all thought Tennessee would cover or win or play a lot better, and it wasn't even the case. I mean, that was the biggest blowout of them all, which was shocking that Ohio State just dominated Tennessee. It was 21-0 before you knew it. But what was your takeaway on the games and what you saw? Anything surprise you besides that, Ohio State's performance?
Well, I think the excitement of the on-campus playoff game was a big story. Record crowds in the stadiums, and of course the announcers had to say on-campus playoff game like 82,000 times. I think they got commissioned for that. But no, there were a bunch of blowouts. Clemson did get within a touchdown of Texas early in the fourth quarter, and you thought, hey, maybe, but Texas ended up separating. So, and then of course it led to a lot of comments from Herb Street and others that you can't give these, like Arizona State, Boise State, both double-digit underdog. You can't let them have a bye. I mean, you got to seed the best teams, give the best teams the bye. No matter if you won your conference, lost your conference, or if you're not large bid. But Ronnie, and it's been pointed out, if you go back to how many years did you have a 14 playoff? There were a lot of blowouts in the semifinals of the 14 playoffs. Okay, and even when, and in college basketball, there's blowouts in the first round, second round that go down. I mean, that's part of it. But you just, I don't know if you say it's broke yet because this is the first year of 12 teams, but certainly there's some things that got to be looked at, including strength of schedule, who gets a home game, who doesn't. I didn't think the home games would matter that much, the home team, the home field. But it did. It really, really did. Although Tennessee had 40% of the crowd, in Columbus at Ohio State. They found a way to get the tickets, and then of course the Ohio State chant throughout the fourth quarter. You heard that SEC, SEC. They were throwing a little left-handed hook at the SEC because Tennessee just didn't look good. It was tough to watch some of the games because you knew the outcome. One of the reasons you watch a game is you don't know the outcome. But at halftime of three of the four games, you knew the outcome. And then when Clemson separated from Texas separated from Clemson, you knew that one was over. There's nothing down to the wire or, the 2 minute timeout and do they have a timeout left? You didn't have any of that over the weekend. And, as you mentioned, there's two double-digit underdogs in the quarterfinals. Penn State's 10.5 favorite over Boise, Texas 14 over Arizona State. You got to believe Penn State and Texas are going to continue to roll because those will be obviously neutral site games. But I think some things have to be addressed. But it is the first year. Keep in mind when you had a two-team playoff, they made adjustments first couple of years. When they went to four, they had to make some adjustments, and I think they'll do the same thing this year.
I think we all agree that the seating is going to get redone. I mean, that they're going to go ahead and fix that. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious that they're going to reseed everybody and make that, because I mean, let's look at it. I mean, if Clemson was playing Arizona State, it would have probably been a lot more entertaining game. Boise is taking on SMU, would have been a lot more entertaining game than what we saw. And then again, I agree with you. Home field was huge. All four home teams covered, and usually in decisive fashion. And there were sort of blowouts. You play those games on neutral sites, they definitely even up probably a little bit, a lot more. But that said, there's four quarterfinal games. The one obviously that is the most exciting to us is Notre Dame, Georgia. Largely because of the hatred a lot of people have for Notre Dame. And, of course, the tie to Brian Kelly, the LSU coach who coached there. And then also on the other side, Georgia, on one hand, a favorite to win the national championship, but then can they really without backup quarterback who hasn't had a start this year? So there's so many storylines to that game. To me, that's by far the most intriguing game. And then you throw the fact that it's in Sugar Bowl in the Superdome, that also throws a little extra interest on top. So that'll be the one that I care about the most. I think the Arizona State game, I think, they're not playing in Tempe, they're playing in Atlanta. I thought as far as, and then Boise State, I mean, I'm really intrigued by Boise State too, because, how good are they? We know their story about how they played Oregon down to the wire, but how good are they? And now that they've had a few weeks to prepare, how will that help them? So those are the two games that, Boise State, just how good are they? And then the Georgia Notre Dame game. But I had to, you had to be impressed with Ohio State, man. Ryan Day, the head coach over there, much maligned. People talking about this is going to be it. They're going to fire him. And Ohio State looked like the best team in the country against Tennessee. I mean, just absolutely demolished them. Played a perfect ending. They scored on 6 of their first 7 possessions. They scored touchdowns. I mean, it was just an incredible performance by Ohio State to where it got your attention and made you forget all about the Michigan loss.
Well, in Ohio State, that's the only rematch of a game played this year. They played Oregon in a Big Ten game during the season. It was a shootout. Oregon slipped by at the very end. It was a close finish. So that's a rematch of a game during the regular season. So I think that game and then the Georgia Notre Dame game, which I've always had a thing for the Sugar Bowl growing up in New Orleans. It's always been a special game for me. Yeah, I've been to it many, many times, not recently, but those are the two games that have more interest. And of course, Ohio State's only favored by 2.5, Georgia only by 1.5.
How about Oregon just being no one appreciating them? They're undefeated. Nobody talks about them. And they've already beaten Ohio State. Now they're an underdog in the semifinals. I mean, you talk about just not getting the respect that I'm sure that they feel like they're deserved, but they can definitely earn it on the field this time around. TK, let's talk about Ricky Henderson, man. 65-year-old baseball player. A lot of people, a young generation maybe don't realize how great Ricky Henderson was. All you need to know is that he's the all-time base stealing leader and he's got over 400 more stolen bases than the second place guy. I mean, that's not to mention all these other records that playing 25 years and being a great hitter and outfielder and all that, but base stealing, which he's the king of. And when you think of Ricky Henderson, the first thing you think of is stealing bases. The guy he's the Babe Ruth of stealing bases.
Well, I'll put it this way. If a rookie starts this coming season and steals 60 bases, 60, for 22 years in a row, they won't catch Ricky Henderson. Let that sink in, okay? In baseball, Ronnie, as you know, it's all about stories. It's all about statistics / numbers. There's tons of Ricky Henderson stories, and we've seen them all in the last couple of days. Harold Reynolds tells a great one, and I mean, it's just unbelievable. But then if you look at his numbers, you look at the statistics, it's amazing. I mean, clearly in the Hall of Fame and all of that. But and he said he wanted to be remembered as a guy who was a great ball player, and he was a great ball player. He was a character. He always spoke in that third person. He'd say like, "Hey," he'd call somebody, say, "Ricky here," you know. I mean, he had a thing, and they had the story that he was on ESPN with Mike and Mike back in the day, and when he got his $1 million signing bonus check, he framed it, put it on the wall because he wanted to be a millionaire. Well, the Oakland A's, like in December, they going through the checking account, the books, and they try to and they call him up, said, "Ricky, you never put that thing in the bank." He goes, "Oh no, it's in a frame on the wall." And they said, "Well, look, how about you go cash that or put it in the bank, and then we'll give you a duplicate so you can put the frame in the wall." But my favorite story, Ronnie, was when he went on road trips. Okay, in Major League Baseball, you get a cash envelope full of cash every time you go on the road. Meal money, they call it, whether you got a 3-game trip or an 8-game trip. And of course, the amount varies depending on how many days there are. Well, he would save these envelopes all season long. And at the end of the year, right before Christmas, he'd call his kids into the room and he'd lay them all out on the table, and there was potluck. They could pick, they could take turns picking. You didn't know if you were getting the 3-day meal money or you were getting the 9-day meal money. So it was kind of a fun thing that he did with his kids because he had enough money. And then that was a little way he did. I always liked that story because it's pretty cool. I mean, I remember, and you do too, back in the days of arena football, they'd hand you that envelope with the meal money in it and whatever. So that was cool. But again, look up his numbers, look up his stats, enjoy all the stories out there. I like the one too. He and Ken Griffey Jr. in an old timer, not an old timers game. I think it was some kind of exhibition game. They were both playing left field for other teams, and they shared a glove, like the old days. Like Griffey Jr. would they play it, and he'd throw his glove down on the ground in left field. He'd go to the dugout, Henderson come out, pick that glove up, and use it, which is what they used to do back in the 1800s and early
Right.
1900s. You shared a glove. Well, they did that. I might have been the Cooperstown game or something, and of course I saw the highlight of that, and that was pretty cool. But but bottom line, a great ball player, who. And then he told me this, Ronnie. I never heard this till this morning. They showed a clip. They asked him when he was taking a lead off second base, what did he look at the pitcher? What was his point of focus to figure out if the pitcher was going to throw it for him or he was going to be able to steal third? I never heard this in my life. You want to take a guess? I know I'm blindsiding you here. He said
No,
he
go
looked
ahead.
at the elbows, and the guy hosting, what do you mean the elbows? He goes, well, they had to turn their elbow to the base in order to throw to me. And it made all the sense in the world. And I've heard all the things. You look at the hip, you look at the back foot, you look at the heel. I never heard the elbows, but this guy stole over 1,400 bases, so he knew a little something.
I mean, he was always so fun to watch, and he was the first guy really to pimp home runs. You know what I mean? Like he would kind of do the spin. He'd hit a home run. And he started doing that at some point in his career, and he put the flaps down. Where he would jog with the hands on his side. Like he was very flashy and played 25 years. 25 years. He hit a home run in 25 or 20
Different
plus.
seasons.
He's the only ball player I think to hit a home run in like 23 seasons in a row or something crazy like that. I mean, it was just
Ronnie, how about this? 81 times he led off the game with a home run.
yeah.
81. The next highest is George Springer, who still plays with the Blue Jays, former MVP of the World Series with the Astros. He's got 60. He's not hitting 21 more. I don't even know if he hits leadoff anymore. And of the 81 times he hit a leadoff home run, 30 were on the first pitch of the game. Talk about that old thing like let's ambush that first pitch. Sometimes that's the best pitch you're going to get, whatever. 81 times he led off the ball game with a bomb.
Yeah,
And nobody's
he was always one of my favorite players, and sad to see him go at such a young.
Well, and they said he just threw out the final pitch at the A's last home game. He also, his daughter threw out a final pitch and he caught it. They said he had some pneumonia in the last couple of weeks.
On him.
Yeah. And it kind of got on him, and they were trying to figure a few things out, and they went in the hospital, and he didn't get out the hospital. So I don't think it was a long-term thing from what I read.
Right.
It's something that surfaced here in, the last 2, 3, 4 weeks, and it got him. He would have been 20, he'd have been 66 years old on Christmas Day.
All right, TK, tell us about Court Street Cafe over there.
Well, Court Street Cafe here in Port Allen, they're open today. They're going to be closed tomorrow, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Back open regular hours on Thursday the 26th. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Jason and the staff do a super job. They wish everyone Merry Christmas. Thank everybody who has stopped by this year, and hope to see you next year. Right over the Mississippi River Bridge, Court Street Cafe in Port Allen.
And don't forget, if you're looking for some last-minute food items, you forgot to cook something, you need to pick up a casserole, or some pan of stuffing, whatever. Go to Tremonti's in Baton Rouge. I'll be bringing some Tremonti's to my family. You should too. Stop by there today, right on Jefferson Highway near Parkview Baptist in Baton Rouge. For Tommy Chrysan, I'm Ronnie Rance. Please have a Merry Christmas and like and share this video. TK?
Obviously, we'll be back Friday morning. We'll take Wednesday off. You'll be with family. I'll be with family. But Merry Christmas to everybody. And we appreciate all the folks that watch Sports Shorts Daily and listen to Sports Shorts Radio. And I get a lot of feedback from a lot of different people, and we appreciate it.
All right, everyone, like and share this video and have a Merry Christmas. We'll see you on Friday.